Hello and welcome everybody to the season 3 of Slick Picks. Before we get into the show, I just wanted to talk to you guys about an amazing sponsor that we got for this year. You guys have supported us so much on this journey, and now we have someone else supporting us, and that's Underdog Fantasy. They're a great app. It's a great way to make some money based off your sports knowledge. They put up fantasy drafts that are really awesome. They're called Best Ball. So you draft your team during the summer. You can do it now all the way up to the start of the season. And there's no in-season management for these teams, which is great. So on Tuesday morning, it auto-sets the best possible lineup you could have had. So there's no in-season management. There's no trades. There's no waiver wire nonsense like that. You draft a little bit of a bigger team to compensate for that. But it's awesome because then you don't have to stress out mid-season. Oh, did I put the right guy in? Did I forget to pull out that guy who had a bye week? There's none of that. There's no trading a defense for Jonathan Taylor that you got to get all pissed off about. It's really awesome. It's a ton of fun. You can do a bunch of different types of leagues where you can do $3 leagues where the winner gets like $60 at the end of it. It's fun. Or you can do the big boy leagues. And I've dabbled in a couple of these. The prize pools are like millions of dollars. It's really awesome. We really ask, all you do is just check out the app. Go to Underdog Fantasy, check out the app. In addition to the drafts that they have player props, and it's a great way to make money. The odds that they've put on these player props are kind of ridiculous. Some of the lines are a little suspect. I love our sponsor. They're awesome, but I'm not sure that they're great at making lines just yet. And that means there's opportunities for you to make money. So go out there, check out the props. I mean, there was a prop, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to spoil it. Me and Jared are going to be putting out props all year. We're going to tell you what to put your money on, and you know how the deal works. They're winners. They're always winners. They're locks. When you're listening to Slick Picks, you get locks. So the player props are amazing. You can make a ton of money. The best ball drafts, I've done like 20 of them. They're really addictive. I think when you do one, you're going to be like, oh, this was awesome. And you're just going to keep doing them. So check them out. They are going to support us all year, and we really love that. So if you check them out and you are interested in dropping a little bit of cash into the app and making some money for yourself, if you use promo code SLICK, they'll match your first deposit up to 100% up to $100. So say you put in $20, they'll give you $20. If you put in $10, they'll give you $10. Put in $100, they're going to hand you $100. And that's great because there's a lot of money to be made on Underdog Fantasy. So check them out. They've been amazing. And we really appreciate all the support you guys are giving us. And let's get into the episode. It's time to make some money.
Mikey and Jared, they are so sleek. Mikey and Jared, they're making beats.
All right, Jared's requesting the boys are back in town to start off the show. I think for copyright issues, I won't do that. But maybe I'll put like the album cover or something up. The boys are back. This is it. This is a real episode. This isn't TikTok. This isn't Instagram.
We're here.
This is real life.
Season 3.
I didn't think we'd make it.
Did not get canceled yet. Unbelievable.
Yep.
They tried.
It's amazing. Yeah. Oh boy, have they tried, and they just haven't been able to.
No, can't get us.
Keep
We're
trying,
slippery.
nerds.
Like the greased up deaf guy from Family Guy. Just can't. They can't get their fingers on us.
I like that. I like the
Yeah.
idea of people trying to get their fingers on us.
Yes.
So, as you know, what we always do in week 1, or I should say episode 1 of Slick Picks, is that we give you a bunch of win total winners. We've done really good on this, actually, over the years now. And then we give you some Rookie of the Year and MVP odds. So, with that said, Jared, what do you want to start? You said you wanted to start with win totals?
Yeah, let's do some win totals. We'll do our standard scoring where we'll do a 1, a 2, and a 3, progressively getting more confident with those picks. So, one pick, or the 1 point is, the one we're least confident, but still extremely confident because we're winners.
Yep.
And then the second is our second favorite pick of the week. And then the third is an absolute lock that will never lose.
Yeah, our locks have never lost ever. Go back
Nope.
and look into it.
Yep.
So, yeah, and the idea is that you just want to accumulate points at the end of the year. Me and Jared total up the points to see who is the winner. So, like we said, 1, 2, and 3 point play for win totals, and then we're going to do 3 award-based bets, and those are all going to be worth 3 points because it's pretty hard to pick MVP, rookie, and defensive rookie of the year. So, with that said, I'll start.
Do it.
1 point play.
Didn't even ask me if I wanted to start, but that's
Yeah, I
cool.
usually
Go ahead.
do. I usually do, and this time I'm just getting into it
No,
because I
go
think
for
this is
it.
a little spicy, and I think you're going to hate it.
Okay.
So Dolphins over 9.5.
I don't hate it.
Oh, I said 9.5. I meant to say 8.5. I apologize. So Miami Dolphins over 8.5. Last year, Miami was 9-8. Remember that. I don't foresee Tua ever getting an MVP vote in his life, but I also think he gets a little too much hate. Again, I'm not trying to sell you on Tua Tagovailoa being like a top 10 quarterback. He's just also not bottom 5 like a lot of people act like he is. He was 7th in completion percentage, pretty good. He was tied in Josh Allen for yards per attempt. So that means every time he throws a ball, they're pretty much throwing it about the same average depth. This idea that like it's
you
true.
Gotta put the
it's
stat
literally
up.
true. They're tied at 23rd. Yeah, it's
damn.
literally true. You got to think that's also yards per attempt, not completion. But we're really breaking it down here. His QBR is 18th. Again, not top 10 or anything, but he's a serviceable quarterback. And what really held back their offense last year was their offensive line. If you watched the Miami game, it was a joke. He was getting sacked immediately. That's also why he got hurt last year. They were the 23rd ranked line going into last year, and I think they even played worse than 23. This year, they're projected to be the 9th best line. They've made a pretty massive improvement there. I also just love Mike McDaniels as a coach. I love the San Francisco offense. It's very friendly to the quarterback. It made Jimmy G look like an amazing quarterback. And I think Tua Tagovailoa is a serviceable comparison. You know, just throw the ball to the clearly open guy 10 yards down. I mean, listen, I'm not saying I could be an NFL quarterback, but I could probably also do that.
Yeah. What like Jimmy Garoppolo was doing last year, like throwing to, George Kittle streaking down the seam, like wide open. Yeah. The play call. I like this pick. I like what you're saying. Did they improve the O-line? You said they're projected
I
to be
actually
higher.
don't know the exact names of the guys they brought in, but they're projected to be 9th this year, where last year they were projected to be 23rd. This is Pro Football Focus, so this isn't just some random kid on Twitter spouting nonsense. No, this is Pro Football Focus. They're legit.
I hate those guys. I'm not gonna lie. I want to get that.
Yeah,
out in
they're
the
kind of
open.
annoying.
Like I'm gonna say that going into the year, I'm gonna get that take out bright and early. They had Josh Allen at one point ranked the 33rd best quarterback in the league. Never forgave him after that. But they
So there was a
wacky,
backup better than him.
Yes, they have wacky opinions about some players that I don't necessarily agree with. I think they just get too deep in the weeds. But that's okay. You're the stats guy, so I get it, and I'm the heart guy, and I kind of think Tua looks like a piece of poop. I think he looks like he has a limp noodle arm.
I'm not encouraging you to watch Dolphins games. Bet and just go watch anything else. It's not going to be fun to watch,
Well, it might be. I think Teddy Bridgewater could really get it done for this team, and that's why I like this pick.
You're saying if they replace Tua with Teddy?
When they replace Tua, yeah.
When they replace Tua.
I give
Interesting. And you don't think it's going to be Skylar Thompson, their 7th round draft pick?
Shoot, it might be. It
might be.
I mean, it'll be a really interesting camp or battle these first few weeks between Teddy and Skylar to see who ends up getting that job from Tua at week 5.
Yep.
But nonetheless, that roster is super, super good. They have I think his name's Javon Holland, the safety, second-year safety.
They brought 11 of 11 defensive starters back.
And they had a good defense.
They had a good defense.
They're building a good team. It's going to fall onto his shoulders, and too bad he has very frail shoulders. I like the pick, though, nonetheless. And I'm going to tie my one-point play into this pick as well. Unless
Do you mind if I give one last detail about the reason why I love Miami? Is they have an identity here in Miami, and I like it, and it's fast guys. Mike Gesicki, one of the fastest tight ends in the league, he ran a 4.54. Waddle ran a 4.37. Hill ran a 4.29. Mostert a 4.32. There's just burners everywhere all over the field. They do this. They have trackers on all the players during practice, and there's an award given out at every practice for whoever had the quickest 10-yard stretch of like a quick burst during like drills. This is a team that identifies as fast, and I like that. They're built around a concept. And I also think Chase Edmonds, last detail about this team, I think Chase Edmonds is going to kill it for fantasy this year. He turned down more money to go to Miami because he wanted to be with Mike McDaniels. He actually someone tweeted this, a reporter, it's like rumor out there, Chase Edmonds turned down a deal to go with Miami. He retweeted that and said yes. Literally just yes. I think that was the entire tweet. Think about that. How often are NFL players turning down more, especially running backs?
And they're going to a team that wasn't in the playoffs last year. He must really like that scheme.
It's It's a zone blocking zone blocking run. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an X and O's expert, but that's the idea behind it. Is that Chase Edmonds likes the running scheme that they have that's based on zones.
That's really cool. I don't fully understand that stuff either, but it definitely matters a lot because I know the Bills' O-line was awful until they switched to a zone O-line, and then they ended up doing enough. I would say like a top 15 O-line. But that's a good pick, man. I like it. I like Chase Edmonds, too. I think he's going to catch a lot of balls. Great pick. Great way to start the season as a whole.
Stop it. I'm blushing. Come on.
Just an excellent start. And I'm going to piggyback off your 1 point play with my 1 point play being the Patriots under 8.5. Consequently to the Dolphins having a great roster now, I think the Patriots might have the worst roster in the AFC East. The Jets have, they have some question marks.
The Jets have talent.
They have accumulated young talent with Elijah Moore, Breece Hall, Zach Wilson.
Garrett Wilson
has a good arm. Garrett Wilson's another one. Yes. Sauce Gardner. I don't know if I said him yet already.
Not yet. Michael Carter was, the darling of the NFL last year. He was killing it.
Yeah. So they have a lot of good players on the Jets. They have a lot of good players on the Dolphins. The Patriots lost their Pro Bowl guard, and that's about it. That's about all I can think of. McCourty retired. That's the other thing. I don't think they picked anyone up.
Didn't they lose? Wasn't it they lost someone to the Chargers?
J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson, their best defensive player. Overrated, but still their best defensive player. They got worse everywhere. And I like Mac Jones. And I'm saying that as a Bills fan. I like Mac Jones. I think he's a good quarterback. But his best wide receiver is Devontae Parker, who got cut from the Dolphins, who was in the division. And I don't think the Dolphins are going to miss him. Honestly, I don't think they'll miss him at all. And then, you got Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, a whole bunch of mediocrity surrounding this young quarterback who can't do it all by himself.
There's no one in the Patriot offense that I don't like. Having a bunch of twos sounds great until you realize none of them are really getting open. Because we're a two type of guy, like a wide receiver two, a tight end two. Thrives is when someone else is distracting the defenders, and he just sneaks in there on a well-run route and catches his passes. Who is distracting the defense in this offense?
Even now, man, in the NFL, these twos, quote-unquote twos, are better than a lot of these guys on the Patriots roster. I could see Gabriel Davis being wide receiver one on that team. I could see T. Higgins being wide receiver one.
No doubt.
DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett.
Mike Williams.
Williams. Yeah. Pick one. There's a lot of guys who are twos better than anyone on that roster right now, and that's not good, especially for a young quarterback. You said that James White retired because the game plan going
the new run scheme that they're installing,
Yeah, there's so much bad news. I think this line is so high because of the fact that Bill Belichick's the coach, and they were in the playoffs last year. But that team really started to stink at the end of last year, so they figured something out. Damian Harris went on a crazy stretch, and now I'm hearing Ramon Stevenson's going to take his job. So they're going to have.
It's going to be a competition between those two. It's going to be definitely a split backfield.
Yeah, and those guys are good, but they're not Christian McCaffrey. They're not Delvin Cook. They're going to be.
I think they might be the two best offensive players on that team.
Yeah, I agree. But that doesn't fare well for their team. I think they have maybe it's. I'm trying to think of a team with worse offensive talent, just like a star, like picking the best playmaker on that offense. There's this
someone might think let's take a minute here. Someone might throw out the Bears, right? But I definitely take the two Bears running backs. I really like
and Darnell
Mooney's
Mooney.
Been a very solid running back. They have Mooney. Khalil Herbert's a very fine RB2. And say what you want about Justin Fields looking pretty awful last year. How much of that was Matt Nagy? In the preseason this year with the new coach, he threw 13 for 13 the other week with a clean pocket. Just seems like a different player. So
I like Fields.
I would take the Bears offense right now over the Patriots offense. Offensive lines aside. Yeah, I'm talking about skill players. We'll stick with skill players.
We'll get into the Bears in a little bit, but nonetheless, we're comparing this team with 8.5 over under to a team with a 5.5 over under. It's night and day. I think that the Patriots might easily 6-11 is very realistic for the Patriots in my eyes.
Yeah. And no, it's different. It's not like the Patriots of 5 years ago when they were looking at their schedule. They'd be like, "Oh, Jets, that's 2 easy wins for us." The Jets, if the Jets want to be anything, they need to look at their 2 games against the Patriots and say, "We got to take at least one of these."
Yeah.
The Jets aren't having a season this year where they're okay with losing both their games against the Patriots. If they want to compete, they want to be a fringe wild card team. They got to win one of these games against the Patriots.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Miami looks exactly the same way. If anything, I think the Bills look to sweep the Patriots this year.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the same old AFC East. The little brothers are growing up quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they got faith.
yeah, I mean, I'm always praying on the demise of the Patriots. So
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. Not Mac Jones' fault. I am Max Jones truther, but that team around him is so bad that I can't feel good. Kind of the opposite of the Dolphins, where I love the Dolphins roster aside from the quarterback. I love the Patriots quarterback, but everything else is poop. Just straight poop.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. All right, you ready for 2 points?
Yeah, let's keep rolling.
A team that I think has some pretty bad vibes this all season. You know, this kind of sounds spicy, but not really. I'm going Cardinals under 8.5. They were 11-6 last year, so they had a pretty good year last year. But I'm sure everyone remembers. I think they started like literally like 10-0, 11-0, or something like that. It was kind of ridiculous. But I just don't love this offseason for them. I think trading Chase Edmonds was really questionable, considering that James Conner has been a walking injury report his entire career. He stays healthy for 1 year, and now you're trusting him with essentially your entire backfield. I mean, their backfield now behind him is like Eno Benjamin, a guy who has gotten like 10 touches in his career. He was supposed to be this young guy who was great, but I mean, he just hasn't seen the field. Hollywood Brown has been struggling with a hamstring during the offseason. He only started practicing about like a week ago. So, you know, he hasn't really been able to build chemistry in this new offense just yet. Obviously, everyone knows DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out for a significant time. I think it's 6 or 8 games, 6 games. And I don't know if you remember this last year, but when he left the field, he had an injury last year. That offense took a nosedive. It looked like a different team.
It was no offense. It was very clear that the offense was running through DeAndre Hopkins when he left the field. And to add on to what you've been saying, the last 2 years with Kyler Murray, they start out hot and fizzle. Now they're going to try to start hot again, repeat that success, but they're doing it without their best player, who we've seen they can't do anything without. So, Marquise Brown's not going to fill those shoes. He's a burner. He'll fill Christian Kirk's shoes, which is fine, but that's about it.
Even like Rondale Moore, their very tiny wide receiver that they drafted last year, he's dealing with a little thing. He might not be ready for week 1, I'm hearing. Zach Ertz is now a little bit shaky going into week 1. It's a little concerning here, and it gets worse for them. Week 1, they're playing Kansas City, so tough game.
Ow.
Week 2, playing the 49ers, probably a tough game. I'm sorry, I messed it up. Week 1, Kansas City. Week 2 is the Raiders, a team that has the same projected win total as them, so probably pretty evenly matched team. Week 3, they're playing the Rams. Week 5 is the Eagles. Week 7 is the Saints, a team that I'm very high on. Week 12 is the Chargers. Week 14 is the Broncos. Week 15 is the Buccaneers. I'm having a hard time finding 9 wins in this schedule. It's littered with, it's like the best of the NFL in this. It's going to be tough. And I'm sure you've heard about this narrative. It's the Call of Duty narrative. I'm sure you've heard of it, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the stats to back here. Maybe if I'm feeling extra special when I'm editing this all up, I'll display it. But pretty much every single year, as the annual Call of Duty drops, so does Kyler Murray's stats.
Yep.
Modern Warfare 2, I think they're remastering it, the game that I remember playing a lot during middle school. Kyler Murray and me are 2 years apart, so I'm sure he played the fuck out of Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, yeah.
It's dropping in October 28th. I'm going to fade the Cardinals the week after that game drops. I'm just going to do it. Just blindly. It doesn't matter the matchup.
Calling it now, better
of the year. Put it in now.
Whoever they're playing.
Yeah, exactly. Fade this team until Kyler proves that he can stay healthy for a season and is a leader.
Yeah, I agree. We were shitting on Kyler last week too with our content that we sliced up on our TikTok and YouTube. Go check those out, by the way.
Yep.
Slick Picks podcast. But yeah, we don't like Kyler. We think he's kind of a loser, and we don't know him, but based on everything we've seen, he does not seem like the kind of guy that I would want to be in the locker room with. Not a leader.
No. No, he's
Okay.
not.
Yeah, great pick. Great pick.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you, buddy.
Yeah, I've got you. So, my 2-point play, talking about the Bears under 5.5.
Yep.
You were saying you'd rather take the Bears offense over the Patriots offense, and while I appreciate you backing my pick, I would have to disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe the worst roster in football. It's a bad franchise, poorly run. Who's on this roster that you like? You got Darnell Mooney, David Montgomery, Justin Fields, Roquan Smith. Justin Fields,
Who Roquan Smith probably won't be on the team in a
Yeah,
couple
trade
weeks,
him.
right?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're blowing this team up. This team has almost double the amount of salary cap coming into next year as the next closest team. That
God.
tells me blow it up. This is not the team.
Yeah.
So gather that. Gather all the money you can. I wouldn't be surprised to see if Roquan's off the team by week 8, especially if they start 0-4, which they very easily could. I like Khalil Herbert. I like David Montgomery. They're trying out a atrocious line on an atrocious field, by the way. They just had a Bad Bunny concert there a couple days ago. One of the highest grossing concerts of all time, by the way. Bad Bunny, he racked in like 40K.
I'll
or
be
something.
honest, I don't know a single Bad Bunny song. It feels strange. I feel old. Who is Bad Bunny? Who the fuck is Bad Bunny?
That's very bad. That's very bad. I don't. It's Latin music, man. Latin music's on the up and up. I don't see you
I'm
as a
not
Latin music
Latin.
guy. Yeah. I'm not the biggest Latin music guy either. I do know who Bad Bunny is. The tickets were $380 to get into the door, minimum $380
Wow.
to go. No one's worth that. The Bears aren't worth that. I think people are gonna get hurt on the field. Just I've seen the state of the field.
It's muddy, right? It looks
It's
like muddy.
disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It does not look playable on. They're gonna have to do a absolute Band-Aid of a job on it, like duct tape that shit up. It's not. So there's nothing to be excited about. Not only is the team roster bad, the field is bad. It tells me the owners don't really care too much about the team.
Yeah.
And I think they're already looking at the the next draft next year. This year for me is, so I would say, if I'm a fan or a coach, it's like, let's see what we have in Justin Fields this year. Goal of the year, let's see what we got. But they've done nothing to help him. They have a terrible O-line, they have a good running back, and then they have Darnell Mooney. That's about it. So
I mean, I showed this on the TikTok that we posted, but it was a list of all the wide receivers in the league that are currently like absolute stars that are younger than the draft pick that they brought in. I don't even know this fucking guy's name, and I may never know it because he might never do anything. God, what the fuck is his name? It's like Vasquez or something like that. I'm trying to look it up, but I won't bother.
I don't know.
Because he's a nobody. The only thing... All right, so I'll tell you this. Everything you're saying makes sense, and I agree with it. And last year, they looked like a joke. The only thing that gives me a moment of pause, and it's a pretty minor thing, but they fired Matt Nagy. And that guy was fucking horrific.
Yes.
Is there any chance that this team... Because they've been playing actually pretty well during the preseason, for what it's worth. Is there any way that just firing him is such a net positive for this team that they start turning things around? That's where this bet goes wrong. Is that Matt Nagy was so horrific that somehow this team is better than it appears? That's the only way I see. Because I agree. I mean, the line is really, really bad. The defense it's not the old Bears defense that you remember. I agree. There's not a lot of talent. This is a very popular under. People are taking.
I think that's a fair point, and I would counter that saying, the team that you just said, like the team that you just described, reminds me of last year's Lions, where they're playing above what they are because there are no tiers. That's a good team. Now they're looking better, but they don't have a lot to be happy about. They got rid of their shitty coach, and they love their new coach. Say they love their new coach, and they won 3 games.
3 games.
It's just not. The talent's not there, man. It's just not there.
Maybe the Bears fight hard week in and week out, and they're fucking hard knocks next year. But I mean, 5 games, they go 5-12. They can say they worked hard, and then boom, they draft a new QB next year? Question mark.
I'm
Bryce
looking
Young?
at the schedule. Maybe the Texans, maybe the Giants. They beat
But it's
Maybe
tough because
the
you got to think
Falcons.
those teams are looking at the Bears the same exact way.
Yep.
That's how you got to think about these. The Giants are thinking to themselves, the Bears are one of our easy wins. Let's go get it.
Got to do it. Yep, got to do it early. So we'll see. But I love the under on the Bears. I think they're a joke. I think that they're really bad.
Cool. Let's go to our locks in terms of win totals here. I want to try to move this along somewhat quickly because I've praised this team a lot already. And it's the Eagles. It's over 9.5
Hell
for me.
yes. Hell yes.
The Eagles went 9-8 last year with the 18th most difficult schedule. This year, I said it a bunch, they had the second easiest. Their defense was awesome. The 9th fewest yards, rush yards, 5th fewest per rush, 12th pass defense, 11th fewest passing yards total. They killed the draft, getting a lot of great talent to support that defense. Along that, they bring in A.J. Brown for trading away a draft pick. I mean, he's the perfect wide receiver, the pair with a Jalen Hurts, who isn't a special talent with his arm, because he can just kind of lob the ball up, and A.J. Brown's going to snag that ball out of the air. A.J. Brown doesn't need an accurate pass. He's such a freak of nature.
Let's go and get a kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean, this team was 2-5 last year, looking dead in the water. They go and play Detroit. And I was betting on Detroit to win that game. I really liked it as a chance for us to win. And they looked like a different team in that game very specifically because they changed their entire offense. They went from passing, being like one of the top 5 teams in terms of how often they were passing, to being the number 1 running team in the entire league. And they never changed from that. The rest of the year, they went, I think it was like something like 7-3. They were really fantastic. Yeah, man, and they're playing teams like the Lions, the Jaguars, the Texans, the Bears. I mean, they're playing easy teams. I've talked a lot about the Eagles. I'm sure people are sick of me talking about them, so I'm not going to go on and on and on. I think Jalen Hurts takes a step up. I think it's going to be almost Josh Allen-esque with bringing in a legit wide receiver 1 for him, turning him from a decent quarterback with a lot of athleticism to looking like a professional quarterback who's actually going to be in this league for a long time.
That would be really cool, and I think we all want Jalen Hurts to do well. He's probably my second favorite quarterback to root for behind Josh Allen. I agree. Like this roster looks really good. Cowboys, I hate them this year. So I like that too. I think they win the division. I could see them getting 11 wins, 12 wins.
Like, how are you going to win the division if you don't win at least 10 games? Right.
Just
you're going to need to win games.
Beat the shit out of the Giants. Beat the shit out of the Commanders. Split the Cowboys, and they're 5-1 right there. Get 5 more.
Not that hard.
Get it done. No, they can do it. I like that a lot. Great lock. Jared's lock. Where is it on here? Oh shoot!
Jeopardy
Where is
music right here. Hopefully, we don't get copyright claims.
So I have. I wrote down 10 games that 10 teams that I really like.
You got 10 locks?
I got 10 teams that I would put money on. You know what I'm going to go with here?
Let me hear it.
You know what I'm going with here? Browns under 5.5. Cursed. And that's why. Disavow. I looked up the definition of disavow, by the way. I was right when I used it. It was a lost recording, but for between me and Mikey, I disavow that team. I think curses are real. Genuinely. And I think this is one of them. Now, the Bears were cursed for a long time. They brought in this guy. I think that they are in a very difficult division with the Ravens and the Bengals, who I think could easily sweep them both. And the Steelers are always their big brother. And they have a strong, stout defense and a good running back. And the Browns, I just see death. I feel like the locker room's going to be very negligent, or negative is the word I was looking for. And they're not getting their starting quarterback back until week 11. They're going to be trying Jacoby Brissett out there for
their bye
11 weeks.
Is actually before week 11. So he's actually coming back week 12. Like, it's an 11-game suspension, but he doesn't return until week 12 just because of how the bye works out. It's not cute. It's not good vibes in Cleveland. I mean, it's almost comical. I'm sure you saw the images all over Twitter of the player with just a bag of pot on the field. What are you doing?
What?
You didn't see this?
Send it to me. When?
It's going to be on screen. If you're listening to the podcast, check us out. We're going to be on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, dude, he's just on the sidelines, ruffling through his bag, and very clearly just pulls out like a bag of weed. Like it's. Did you just Google it?
What else could that be? That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things.
Bags.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I wonder what that is. No, I know what that is.
Browns moment. Browns moment.
Yeah.
Number 23. Yep. Who's number 23 on that roster? Also,
I do not know.
Well, I don't either. Doesn't matter. I think they're on their third center already. I might be thinking of the Bucks. I think it's both their teams though. But I remember I wanted to watch the first preseason game with Deshaun Watson in it to hear the boos. They booed him. It was awesome.
Yep.
Chanted,
"Good on them."
Fuck.
Yep.
And did you see him play? Did you see his throws?
Not good.
Awful. Missing wide open guys. He definitely has the yips, and I'm not saying he'll be bad forever, but he's definitely shaken. And I watched on that play their starting guard or starting center just tear his ACL, and then the next one teared his ACL at practice a few days later. And that's a curse. That is a curse, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So lock it up. Browns go 6-11. And then I think 20 players go on IR.
Yeah, this is the type of
someone's
team
going to
where
get shot.
Yeah, guys are going to be like, ooh, my ankle doesn't feel great, and if we had a chance for the division, I pushed through, but I'm just going to cash my check and go on the IR. Why not?
Yes.
You know?
And they're also, I'm saying that they will be hurt because they're cursed as well.
Oh,
there will be guys
so you're not saying
that,
just like players. Yeah,
no,
you're saying
I'm
like,
saying the team is cursed and players are going to get hurt because of that.
I don't doubt it, man. I mean, how do you bet on the Browns this year? Like, how do you do it? Jacoby Brissett, I want to say, like, oh, he's a fine quarterback. He's not. He's bad. There's a reason. He's had Jacoby Brissett's had multiple chances to get himself, like, a true, legit starting job. And he's never been able to do it because he's bad.
He's not.
He just hyper-targets the tight end because he's scared to make the deep throws to the wide receiver. And that's not running the ball and throwing to your tight end is not going to win you a lot of games in the NFL in 2022.
I agree. I'm seeing people say these might be just seeds in the bag. I disagree. I think it's weird.
What do you mean? The guy's just carrying around bags of like sunflower seeds? Is that what
Yes.
they're saying? Is this guy a gardener? Or okay, interesting. All right. Well, he's
Is he a guard?
he wants a snack on the sideline. All right.
I'm gonna think.
I'm
gonna go
gonna
with
put it
weed.
up on screen, and I'm gonna go with it too because it's more entertaining. Everyone else can make that decision for themselves. Yeah, I don't know. How do you bet on the Browns? I think it's either you pass or you go under. There's no way you go over.
Yes.
Love it. And I'm always here to root against bad guys, right?
Yes, and that's what we're doing right now. I'm sorry. I'm staring at this picture of weed, trying to confirm if it is weed. We're definitely going against those guys. Fuck them. Fuck the Browns. I will be at the Browns-Bills game. I will be throwing eggs at the players. Catch me.
Honestly, I can imagine people booing the Browns even like when Watson's not on the field. Like I don't know what week you're going, but I think people will. I think people will chant shit at him because I have to imagine he's on the sidelines. Like if he wants to establish himself,
I
as
don't
a
think he
leader on his
is.
team,
I don't think you're allowed to if you're suspended.
Really, like you can't just be in like sweats. Wow, that's crazy.
No.
You know what?
I'm still booing and throwing stuff.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should.
It's my God-given right.
All right, going from locks to dart throws. We got some Rookie of the Years and some MVPs. I'll hit it off quickly with my defensive Rookie of the Year because I'm sure it's
we got the
quite
same
obvious.
One. We got the same one.
All right. It's Aiden Hutchinson because have you seen him in Hard Knocks?
Go.
Like every time he comes on screen, Rachel just goes, "Wow, he's hot," and that's the kind of guy that wins awards. Like I'm not even mad. Like I'm like, yeah, he fucking is. Have you seen his fucking abs? You can grate cheese on them. Like
it's an attractive family for sure.
Oh my god, yeah, they keep showing the fucking moms and the sisters. Let's not get off track here. But 5 of the 10 last defensive Rookie of the Years were on the defensive line. I like that. So like half the time it's going to the guys rushing the quarterback. I mean, it's very obvious when they have impact, right? Like a corner can play lockdown like defense and you don't even see it. But a defensive end, like rushing at you, like you see when that happens. It's pretty obvious.
Right.
He's got a brand for himself going with only blacking out one of his eyes. He's going to be very obvious when you see him on the field. He's clearly the odds leader at plus 500. Yeah, give me
He's
Aiden
actually
Hutchinson.
gone down because when I wrote this down last week, he was plus 450. So
Wow.
that's great. I don't know why people
Yeah.
are fading it per se, but I feel like it's a pretty easy pick. There's no one that's really standing out to me,
Yeah.
you know. And it's he's the guy that everyone's gonna be watching going into the year, and those guys are tending to get the award more often, you know. So I like that. It's a great pick. I agree. I don't even have much to say about it. I think Hutchinson is the guy. I think he's gonna get like 12 sacks, and that'll do it.
Yeah, I guess I'm not as concerned with Trayvon Walker, who went number 1, because
Me either.
I think he's a great athlete, but he's a project. Like, everyone was saying the entire draft process, like, he's an athletic freak who had, like, I think, like, 9 sacks in his entire career in college or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
he has a lot to work on, and that doesn't scream to me jumping out and immediately having impact week 1 or the first season. So,
Hutchinson's
do
a
I think
finished
that
product.
Trayvon Walker could have a great career? Probably. But probably not year 1. Thibodeau for the Giants. I would have
Already
liked
hurt.
him, but he got hurt. So, with that said, exactly, like the top 3 guys, one of them's a project and one of them got hurt. So why are you not betting on Hutchinson?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And then I think there's like a guy. Oh my God, what's the next defensive end? Are you looking at it? He's got a long name. Yeah, I hear you typing away. There's another guy who could maybe get it. I've heard. Like,
is
a
it the
few
guy on
rumors.
like on?
I feel like it's a
Kansas
red
City?
team. Yeah, it's a red team.
Is it Kansas City? Oh God, his name is like give me a
Iodonis
second.
or something like that?
Yeah. It's like the ferocious something. That's his like nickname. They're already working on it. Let me pull up Kansas City draft picks 2022.
Yeah, it's
I actually
that
really
guy-
wanted the Lions to grab him. Honestly, I liked him during the pre-draft process.
I have heard very good things about him, so that would be my
Yep.
second pick. If we're just something else to talk about, I guess. But Hutchinson, keep it simple, stupid. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the best player. He was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick for a reason. Jags really kind of picked it. It's what the Jags did is they took Christian McCaffrey first overall in their fantasy draft instead of Jonathan Taylor.
George Kalafis, I believe I'm saying that
Yeah,
right? Karl
that's the
Lapis.
guy. That's the guy.
Yeah. So
I don't know where I got Iodonis from, but whatever.
Anyway, so yeah, no, we like Aiden Hutchinson at Defensive Rookie of the Year just because there's really not anyone else right now. So let's go look at Offensive Rookie of the Year. This is, I think, where we're going to get a little different in opinion here.
Oh yeah, I kind of got an interesting guy here.
Yeah, so I would say Malik Willis, if he was starting week 1, would probably end up winning it, but he's not going to start week 1,
Love
so
that
he's
guy so
probably
much.
out of
It's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm all over it.
Crazy.
I don't like where a lot of the wide receivers landed in terms of getting like Rookie of the Year consideration. I think Olave, if I'm going to pick a wide receiver, in my opinion, it's going to be Olave. Even though I don't even necessarily think he's the best wide receiver, I think he has just the best QB throwing to him. With all that said, I'm going Breece Hall. Maybe it's not that exciting of a pick, but he's going to have plenty of opportunity. Running backs win this award. I saw since 2000, 40% of the winners for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, were running backs. So the data is saying that running backs is the place to go. He came out of the draft process with a RAS, relative athletic score. It's like kind of how they measure how athletic you are. Off the charts. He's a freak. I don't give a shit what's happening during the preseason. I don't give a shit that Michael Carter is the RB1 in the depth chart. Right. By week 3,
No,
he's
he's
going to be getting
not.
the majority
He's
of
not.
catch it. Yeah.
Well, he is,
No,
but
Breece
he's
Hall will
not
dominate this
really.
offense in the second half.
I agree.
Yep.
I like that pick. I was considering
Mm-hmm.
Breece Hall. I just don't like the Jets enough because I feel like to be the Rookie of the Year, you need to be a quarterback or you need to be on a good team.
Yep.
And when I was looking at the odds and stuff, what are his odds? He's plus what?
I saw plus 800 last time I looked, but they actually recently took it off FanDuel, so I'm not sure what the
Right.
updated odds are. Last I saw was plus 800. It's going to be plus hundreds. It's not going to be low.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't hate the pick. It's just I think the Jets kind of are not good enough team to have the Rookie of the Year be on their team if he's not a quarterback. Because what would he have to do to get it? He'd probably have to run for 1,300 yards, which is possible. It happens, but I just don't like the Jets being good enough to do that. I actually You know, I don't hate the pick. That's the reason I didn't pick it, because I was between him and the guy I did pick, which you also mentioned, Olave, plus 1,000. I like the better odds.
Yeah, he'd be my second pick. So yeah, no, I like Olave here too.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I don't like where a lot of these guys ended up as wide receivers. You know, Sky Moore, he has Mahomes, best quarterback, but he's behind Juju, who I don't think's given up that spot. I think Juju's very
I'm telling
underrated.
you, man, MVS is like not someone to just look past in that offense in terms of just receiving targets year one. Like, this is a team that's trying to win now. Can they really bank on a rookie, or do they want to go with a reliable veteran? So,
Exactly.
no, I think there's going to be a lot of competition there for targets.
Agree, 100%. And then, you know, you could say Olave behind Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas is kind of washed up. I think it's over for him, which is why I have Olave as my pick. I heard Michael Thomas has hamstring issues already.
Again, man, it was crazy. I was all in on Thomas during this like fantasy offseason. Like, I was doing all my research. He's going to bounce back, and then another hammy, man. I mean, you can't just keep pulling your hamstring. You can't be a pro player and do it.
I think it's over. I think Gazbag got hurt, and now he is never going to be the same. Olave was very good at Ohio State. Let it be known, very good. And Jameis Winston's a good quarterback, and the Saints are a good team. So, you know, who's a good quarterback? Like, these other positions, Sky Moore buried, Drake London, terrible team. Who else is out there?
I think Garrett Wilson's probably the second best.
Bad team.
Bad team, bad QB, and I also think like Elijah Moore is like not like he's tiny, but God, he's fucking good at football. Like if you're not the best receiver on your team and the other guy is a sophomore, it's kind of like, how are you giving him the MVP?
I've heard Elijah Moore is the clear wide receiver one coming out of camp.
I've also heard the same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, so that's not great for Garrett Wilson. I'm sure he'll be good because he was really good in Ohio State as well. But Olave is going to take Michael Thomas's wide receiver 1 spot, and then I think Jarvis Landry is wide receiver 3.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yep.
I think Olave is better than both those guys. I think Jameis Winston's going to throw a shit ton of balls. You had his stats. If you extend them, he had like 44 touchdowns, 7 interceptions throughout the year.
Yeah.
He's running the same system Drew Brees was in, and Michael Thomas caught 150 balls there. Olave could easily catch 90, 110 balls. Get 1,200 yards if he's wide receiver 1 in that kind of offense. So I like it. Plus 1,000 is really good money. That's why I got my boy locked in here over Brees Hall. But I don't hate your pick.
No, exactly. I agree, because like if you're going to be betting like rookie of the year, like it's such a dart throw anyway. You might as well go with something that's going to make you a little dough, right? So go with the plus 1,000 guy.
Yeah.
And Waddle last year, I believe he broke the all-time record for receptions for a receiver, and he got 104, which is outstanding. That's a lot. I think Olave is in a situation where he could do that as well. Because if you look at, like, Camaro catches passes, that's fine, that's great. But their tight end position, they have Taysom Hill, and they have Troutman. Both like serviceable tight ends, but they're not guys who are catching, like, they're not routinely getting receptions, either of those guys. Like you said, Michael Thomas going down. Olave might end up by like midseason being the clear-cut wide receiver 1 on this team. And this is a team that I think is going to compete. I think this team has aspirations of winning this division, if not at least being a wild card team. And you got to throw the ball to do that. You can't just run out the clock and expect to win the game. So I like this. He definitely would have been my rookie of the year if I didn't go Brees Hall. I'm just banking on just absolute freak of a guy, but
volume.
Yeah. All right, we got MVPs here again. Speaking of dart throws, this is, I think, like pretty much the ultimate dart throw.
I hate the MVP this year. I have no idea. Truly.
Yeah, I'm retreading what I did last year, because I was like, Herbert should have won it. He had a great year last year. He didn't win it, and I'm just going to keep betting Herbert until he does. Is that a bad strategy?
No.
Probably.
He'll win it 1 year. I'm not telling you.
He'll win it 1 year. Last year, he had the second most yards, the third most touchdowns, third in QBR, a very, very good 66% completion rate. A couple guys are ahead of him, and the guys ahead of him are like Mahomes, who I think the media is like starting to wane on a little bit. Josh Allen, I wonder if by halfway through the year there's going to be like Josh Allen fatigue. Like, he's so good that it's like, oh God, not more Allen,
Right.
Which is crazy to think about how far the Bills have come.
I know.
And then you got guys like Brady. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Brady and Rodgers are ahead of him. I mean, Rodgers won it last year. Are they really going to give it to him 3 times in a row? I wonder.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then you just look at this offense. It's got weapons everywhere. The running back room is stacked with talent between Eckler, Spiller, Joshua Kelly, who I've been hearing is having a great camp. Tight ends, Gerald Everett, a very solid tight end with Donald Parham being a young guy who's talented. And then one of the best 3 wide receivers you could ask for between Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and then Josh Palmer. Again, another young weapon who's very good. 12th best projected offensive line. Assuming that doesn't get super banged up, he's going to have protection. And he's going to need to score in this division. The AFC West, there's going to be a lot of scoring going on. If he wants to, he can't take weeks off because other teams in his division are going to be winning. So he's got to win week in and week out. And I think that's the kind of motivation you need to push for MVP.
Yeah. It's very possible the best quarterback out of that division wins the MVP just because they won that division. So I like that pick. I was thinking about Herbert. I'll be completely transparent. I had Trey Lance as my MVP.
I loved it.
No.
I wanted to do it.
I had all these notes written out on my phone about why
That's
I
more
like
notes
Trey
than
Lance.
you ever prepare.
Yeah, dude, I had a whole thing. I had bullets here. But the fact that they re-signed Jimmy Garoppolo in a no-trade
Doesn't
clause,
matter, man.
it matters to
matter.
me. It matters
Oh,
to me.
God.
That is a bad
Do you know
sign.
he can waive the no-trade clause, right? It's not like he still can't get traded.
I did not know that, but I don't care. It's a bad sign. It's bad juju coming out of the camp for me now. I've heard that he doesn't look excellent. I'm still on the 49ers wagon. I still like Trey Lance, but it makes me nervous, so I'm backing away from that. I'm just going to take Allen plus 600. I'm going to just take the least fun pick, but it's my guy. And I want to be there if it happens. It feels like the league wants him to be the MVP, right? And there's no reason the Bills should do bad. They got one of the best teams in the NFL. So I'll just take him. I think if he does remotely well, they'll want to give it to him. So
You're probably right. Like I think not Mahomes. I'm sorry. Allen is the most obvious pick here.
He's the favorite, yeah.
I'm trying to look. Trey Lance
Plus
is
600. 28. I got him on right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well, man. I'm gonna put like $5 on it because I'm here for Trey Lance. I think that I don't know why people already hate Trey Lance when he's played, he's been fine. Every time he's been on the field, he's been perfectly fine. Like people are like picking apart like all these every time you hear Trey Lance had a bad day at practice, the same day I see him throw a ball that looks like it was on a string. Like,
you want me to read my notes?
Read the notes, man. I'm here for Trey Lance. This is the honorable mention. It's Trey Lance. Let's run it. I support it. You support it. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Okay. So reason number 1, I'd like Trey Lance. The media is going to cover a breakout star like Trey Lance. If he does happen to break out, he's going to be all over ESPN, all over everything. He's in one of the best markets in the NFL. He's in the San Francisco 49ers. That is a football brand. You have the Cowboys, the Packers, the Steelers, the 49ers, I would say, are the 4 always historic big football brands, So he's going to get that kind of ties right in with that media coverage. He's going to get looks. He's going to, if no matter what, he's going to be under a microscope, right? And then he has one of the best teams in the NFL around him with one of the best coaches telling him where to throw the ball. Deebo and Ayuk both look great, and they should be wide open. The schemes are going to be elite.
I was going to say, let's talk about this scheme again, where you throw it 10 yards to a guy who's completely open, and you got Deebo and Ayuk, yak monsters.
Yeah.
I don't know if I still have these notes anywhere. Yeah, Kittle. I mean,
Kittle's the best tight end about in the league.
Yes, I mean, it's really unreal. I mean, he's going to be able to yak himself to these great performances where he threw the ball 6 yards and a guy ran for 40.
Right. Yeah, so I'm sticking. You know what? I don't give a fuck. Give me Trey Lance. I don't care.
Let's go.
I wrote the
Let's
notes.
go.
Give me the money on Trey Lance. Plus 2,800. That's the value pick. You could take Allen if you want to be a schmuck, or if you're a Bills fan. You're not a schmuck if you take Allen and you're a Bills fan. So
I think if you're a non-Bills fan, picking Allen to be your MVP, I think you're kind of a schmuck. It's like,
I think you also like, your favorite seasoning is flour. Like, I think you're a loser. Like,
I agree.
there's no pizzazz to you. Like, your favorite sitcom
I'm telling you, man,
Friends.
this Jimmy Garoppolo thing. Know what I've been doing actually? So I'm deep into NFL Twitter, and every time I see someone be like, "Oh, like Trey Lance is dead because of this re-signing of Jimmy Garoppolo," I just mute that guy on Twitter.
I love it.
That screams to me you don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about, because you're just reading news and just reacting. It's just, you got to react to everything. Not everything you need to fucking react to. Not everything you got to How many things? I remember last year everyone was talking about Marquez Callaway is going to break out. Do you know what team he's on?
Saints. Nice try, because I was one of those guys.
Exactly. Everyone all fucking summer was talking about Marquez Callaway. Shut up. You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He can waive his no trade clause. Okay, so they can't trade him. Yes, they fucking can. And if they can give Jimmy a starting job, Jimmy's gonna fucking take it because he wants to get another contract. He just doesn't. He wants to have some say in it, so he doesn't feel like a fucking pathetic schmuck being shipped off to Seattle eventually. Also, they didn't want him to go to Seattle for free. If they're gonna send him to Seattle, they might as well get a 6th-round pick out of it. That's gonna be a high 6th-round pick because Seattle's gonna suck. Also, what's the point in having a bad backup quarterback? Like, they just sent away their backup quarterback, Nate Sudfeld, and the Lions actually just picked him up. They waived him because they were able to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance is going to be running all over the field. He's not a huge Lamar Jackson guy. He could run like Lamar Jackson, but he's not as big as Lamar Jackson. He's going to get dinged up. I guarantee you Trey Lance gets hurt for like 2 games this season. Guess who's going to come in and play really great during those 2 games? Jimmy Garoppolo.
But you don't like that. You don't want that as a Trey Lance supporter. You want Jimmy Garoppolo to stink.
You know what? I do and I don't, because I don't really care if Jimmy comes in for 2 games and looks serviceable. I mean, if you remember during the playoff run, he was throwing up like 140 yards a game and they would win. Trey Lance is such a special talent, and I think when people see it on the field, because right now also, do you think Shanahan's running his best plays during preseason?
No, he's running his worst plays. Everyone's running their basic
Think about
plays.
it, idiots. The amount of capital they traded to get this guy in, you don't think Shanahan, I don't want to say his job's on the line, but he's going to be on a hot seat if Trey looks like a complete fucking disaster.
Right.
Like, you just can't. It's so fucking stupid. And guess what's going to happen? When Trey Lance looks good, the media is going to be, "Oh my God, we love Trey Lance. He was so awesome." Like, I'm like,
and
actually
you're
worked up right
an
now.
angry man. Yeah, I love.
Yeah, because I'm just sitting here pissed because I'm like, where was all this fucking energy 2 weeks ago when it was like not even preseason games were being played? It's the couple weeks between preseason and the actual season, and everyone's preying on his fucking demise right now based on nothing.
I got a couple friends you could talk to about this. I love the energy you're bringing. You should start screaming at people. Instead of muting them, switch to the Slick Picks account and cuss them out. You know you can do that in the comment. Like, as you're writing the comment, you can flip accounts. So
If I feel like I'm going too in, if I'm going like way too aggressive, switch to Slick Picks.
Yes.
Do the flip.
You have my blessing as the co-host to switch on Twitter and just annihilate someone. Maybe don't get us banned. But if you want to defend the wall, the Trey Lance wall, I'll defend the wall with you.
I'm gonna start dunking on people. It's gonna be like Shaq in his prime when he was still athletic, breaking rims. I mean,
yes.
I'm so fucking sick
I'm
of it.
looking
Because
forward
here's
to
the
it.
thing: if Trey Lance sucks and I'm totally wrong, whatever, man. Like, shit happens. I made a wrong prediction, but like, what are they basing this off of right now? I'm just repeating myself at this point. I'm worked up. Trey Lance will be good.
It's okay.
Don't stress it.
Yep. Love it.
I have an honorable mention I'll throw out if there's anything you want to throw out.
I have one, yeah.
All right, it's a win total. It's the Saints. They're at 8.5. Last year they went 9-8, and you got to think last year they didn't have Jameis Winston. I talked how much this defense is really, really great. It is. They have the 9th easiest schedule. Jameis Winston, if you stretched out his stats that he played for the first 5 games, he would have thrown 40 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and like 3,000 or so yards. Low volume, very efficient. This defense has always been great.
Boom.
Yeah, Saints.
I love it.
Who dat?
I think I like the Saints over too. I think that was one of my honorable mentions. Yep, I do. I have 10, like I said, so maybe I'll make a graphic. But my pick
If you list them all up, I'll just pop them all over the screen really quick.
Okay, all right. Rapid fire. I'll put them out here. Ravens over 10.5. Panthers over 6.5. Brown. Oh, that was first. Broncos over 9.5, Raiders over 8.5, Saints over 8.5, Giants under 7.5, 49ers over 9.5. And
There
then
it is, guys.
my actual honorable mention is Derrick Henry to lead the league in rushing yards is plus 700. That it's either JT or Derrick Henry. Take Derrick Henry plus 700. Don't even think about the bet until like week 14.
Yeah, he was on pace to do it again.
Yeah, and
Like he was
will.
crushing it last year.
There's no
Yeah.
reason he won't. There's no reason he won't.
If anything, they need to lean on him more this year, considering
Yeah.
they lost A.J. Brown. I mean, this is an offense that was a bit one-dimensional last year at times. That's going to be, like, very one-dimensional this year. And I don't know if defenses can stop it regardless.
He plays the Texans and the Jaguars twice a year.
He's going to put up around 150, 160 yards minimum against those two teams.
Yep, all 4 games. So
Yep,
that's
exactly.
150,
Yeah. Like, that's in a
300,
single
600 yards
game.
right there. 4
There you
games,
go,
600
yep.
yards. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm hearing a lot that, we're getting into the weeds here, but I'm hearing a lot that teams are looking, I should say, the Colts are looking to not lean on Jonathan Taylor quite as much. Obviously,
Yep.
he's a stud, and he's obviously
I've
going to
heard
get
that
a lot
too.
of touches, but they've been very earnest about saying that Hines is going to get a lot more touches. But more importantly, Frank Reich, their coach, who I actually have a lot of respect for, said, like, the brand of football we played last year was an archaic, not Super Bowl winning style of football. I mean, for him to come out and say that about his own team, I really think kind of said something. That wasn't just coach speak.
To me,
I think
that says
kind of
Carson Wentz stunk.
yeah,
we had
yeah,
to.
no, and that's what he isn't saying. But but now they have
Between the lines. Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. You have Alex Pierce, who I think was a really sneaky good wide receiver pickup. I think he's going to be someone people talk about in a couple of years. Paris Campbell is starting the year healthy. Who knows what that ends up being? And obviously, they have, I think, one of the best young wide receivers in the league, and Michael Pittman. This is a team that's going to throw the ball a lot more than last year. Not so much that Jonathan Taylor is going to be bad. I'm just saying, is Jonathan Taylor going to lead the league?
It's the system. Derrick Henry plus
It's the
700 is
system.
Mikey and Jared, they are so sleek. Mikey and Jared, they're making beats. Over under. Can't lose parlay.